This is a role I had with one of my brown belts, actually, Chris Keledas. You can see us back, not directly in front of the camera, just kind of in the middle of the mats here. I start on bottom, right away look for a collar grip. Chris is standing, trying to pass. And I have the shin on shin, looking for the single leg X. Chris kind of falls over there. We roll through. Look like we're in kind of like a 50-50 position. Both have opportunities to attack the feet. Chris disengages because no one wants to be stuck in 50-50. And now I go shin to shin, pull his hips up. Now see how I had his hips over my head? That let me come out towards the back. And let's watch again. Slow motion. Here is the key moment. His hips are starting to get over my head. Now that means I'm in control of Chris's balance. I can push him in either direction. And that's all I'm looking to do is kind of push his weight off of me. So then look, I grab for the belt or the gi there, and then I can start to come up in a position where I'm going to be behind him, setting me up for what I want, is to try to take the back. So now Chris is standing, and I just have a body lock. Now he goes down to the knees. From here, I'm looking to get hooks in. And now when both people are seated in this situation, it's going to be easier to get the hooks and fight for the choke. And it's something that's very important as you work back control to get good at attacking the choke and the second hook at the same time. It really puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. So from here, the game for me is to just lock Chris into position, try to wear him out. There's still over 4 minutes left on the clock. There's a lot of time. You don't need to rush. You just need to kind of get in position. But Chris is good defensively, and he's hand fighting. He's starting to go to his knees, so I follow. I still just have one hook. And now Chris stands up on both feet, and now I switch to a rear chest lock. Rear chest lock is just when you have kind of double unders instead of one over, one under, like the traditional seatbelt. And that's only really used for this situation because it makes it impossible for Chris to shake me off if I have the rear chest lock, double unders. See, I just hang on. He's eventually going to have to go back down because no one's going to stay in that position with someone glued to your back. And now look at my head position. My head is below Chris's head. Very important for back control to control your opponent. If Chris would be able to duck his head below my head, that's going to be the start of his escape. So from here, it's just about hand fighting, trying to tie up hands, try to kind of outnumber him. I would like to have one of his hands tied up with both of my hands free. That would leave me a hand free to dig into the lapel and set up the choke. Just a lot of hand fighting that's happening from here. It may not seem like a whole lot is happening, but it's very important, all these little hand fight battles. And now looks like I'm switching to a Kimura lock. Now switching to an arm lock. Very important to have the back to arm lock to back transition down very smoothly. Now Chris defended the arm lock well, so it forced me to switch to mount, and I have to go mount, trying to go back to the back. Now see, what I don't want him is to tie up my leg with a half guard, so I step that leg over. Watch again, I transition from submission attack back to position. And this is really something I learned from Cobrinha. I was lucky enough to train with Cobrinha for a handful of weeks when I was a blue belt. And he said you really can't insist or force on a move too much because you're going to lose it. What you need to do is look for an opportunity to transition to another move. So say for that arm lock as an example, if I were to just stay on that and have the attitude of like, no, I'm getting this arm lock, Chris is probably going to defend and escape, and I'm going to lose the position altogether, and we're going to have to start from square one. So instead, I switched to the back. I didn't want to get my leg tied up, so I brought my leg over the head. Now I have both legs behind them and transitioned back to a seatbelt. So you see a lot of the time spent on the back so far hasn't really been spent on the back. It's just been spent with the seatbelt grip, which does offer a lot of opportunities to go into different things, crucifix being one of them, but that's not available here yet because Chris is in real tight. Here he's trying to trap my arm, trying his best to get back to a half guard situation. He has to try to turn to face me, and I'm doing everything in my power to not let that happen. I want to keep my chest glued to his back. I don't want him getting chest to chest. Probably worth mentioning here too is that I'm not squeezing the life out of the guy. Like I notice some people would just get exhausted trying to hold back position for a minute, 2 minutes. It's really your elbow positioning. Next time you're on someone's back, or just even picture you're on someone's back right now, it's not so much the squeeze of like your hands, it's the position of your elbows. And all you want to do is keep a good pinch with your elbows. That's going to lock your partner in a lot better than like squeezing your hands into their chest, which is what a lot of people do. Here I was finally able to trap Chris's hand. See how I get his hand with my top arm, left arm. And now I'm going to trap it with my left foot. Leg comes up. Now, options here, still you can go for the choke. You also have a great option to go for the back triangle or transition to the arm lock. All depends on how he reacts. Like I said, you don't want to force things too much. You kind of have to go with what he gives you. Right now, it looks like I'm more on the back triangle or arm lock. And from here, you just want to try to focus on holding the position. Now it looks like it's a bow and arrow. Chris is doing the smart thing of driving his weight on top of me. That's going to make it more uncomfortable for me and difficult to finish the choke when the guy's weight is over your abdomen like that. But what I got to do is kick my left leg out wide and try to trap Chris's shoulder and try to bring him down to the mat over my left. Yeah, I got to take him over that other side. There you go. And now sitting up, looking to get the collar. But it's not over yet. Chris still has hands in for defense. This is all valuable time in my position because time spent with the guy in a bad position, it's almost like it's like body punches or something. It's just kind of slowly wearing your opponent down, even though it might not be obvious. But you spend a minute, 2 minutes on somebody's back, they're not going to be what they were at the start of the match. And from here, Chris is still doing the right thing. He's trying to grab my arm, grab the jacket so he can relieve pressure. But I haven't totally sold out on the choke yet. Only when the guy's body's on the floor and I get the leg over the arm am I really going to put the gas into it. Because in these situations, I don't want to burn out my arms going for the choke. So now it looks like I'm trying to put a little bit more into it. Maybe going for the double collar choke. Switching back to the arm. Chris is able to turn and escapes very nicely. Let's take a look at what happened there. So on the back. Now I start to sit up. Look like I'm going for like the double collar, the zipper choke. So as I brought my leg out, now it looks like I'm trying to grab the arm. But here, look, I just kind of got caught in between transitions. I should have tried to kind of keep Chris pinned to the mat and really tried to open that elbow and glue it to my chest, because now I didn't have his arm glued to my chest. That let him rotate out and get on top. And he's in a good position here. He has both my knees pointed away from him briefly, but I brought that leg back in to get a proper butterfly guard. You don't ever want your opponent getting too much of an angle on you when you're on bottom. And now from here, the game is to try to elevate him, get him up, look for arm drags. Anytime my opponent stands up, shin to shin becomes a possibility. And you always have hook sweeps. Last few seconds tick away on the clock. So yeah, always be working for something and don't force techniques or positions. You have to look for transitions, look to switch to something else. Use like a 70-30 rule. You want to have at least 70% control. If you feel like you're losing, if you have like 50% control, you need to switch and go to something else. So just some kind of food for thought. Thanks for watching. Bye.